Hi everyone, thanks for watching this brief video. Should keep it down to 5 or 10 minutes. I'm thinking maybe this will be the best way for me to communicate some information so that it doesn't get lost in emails or doesn't get lost in the kids taking notes or hearing it in class, and as soon as they leave classroom they forget what's going on. I wanted to talk briefly. I've got a list of comments that I was going to make in class on Friday, and I got out of the house without that. Let me go over those first, and then I want to talk to you just a little bit about watching videos and showing your works, and what the huge difference is in how you watch a math video and how you watch a history video, for example. First thing, these are 6 small little things that I want to reiterate to the kids that will help them to be more methodical in their work, and also to get the best use out of the time that they spend working on classes. First thing that I want you to make sure that you do is when you're working on your homework, I want you to always copy the problem that you're working on your page. If it says that we're going to copy something that the question is something like this: 8 plus 3 times 7. Make sure you copy the problem first, because I want you going back and verifying that you have actually copied that problem exactly. Because this one right here, it would be easy just to write a couple of steps or just to write the answer, but I want you developing the habit of writing your problem and then verifying that you've copied it correctly, because before too long, problems are going to be really long, and it's so frustrating to solve a problem correctly but have it be the wrong problem because you made some sort of a transcription error. When you're doing your work problems, you have to show me your work. You cannot just simply write the answer. This problem right here, I would expect many of you, the vast majority of you, to be able to look at this and say, okay, the answer's 77. We're learning the process of showing our work, stepping through an orderly procedure that will help us again when we get to where we have more difficult problems. This is a really key thing that I want to make sure that the kids are doing, and I know not everyone is doing it, and that is check your work as you go. Do not wait until the end of all of your homework. Check your work as you go. I truly don't care if the parents are checking it or if the kids are checking it on their own, because having access to those answers, it's a learning tool for the kids. It's probably, my opinion is, frequently it's best, have mom or dad sitting right next to them if you want to, as you're teaching, as you're aiding your child, but let them look at the answer and say, oh, I came up with, this is my answer here, and I wrote 84. What in the world, how did they come up with 77? That doesn't make any sense. It must be a book error. I get told that all the time. Oh, there's a mistake in the book. There's a mistake in the book. There's a mistake in the book. Sometimes there are book errors. There are a few errors in both the pre-algebra book and in the Algebra 1 book. But the majority of the time, when you think it's a book error, you've made some sort of a computation error. So please, parents, do not have your kids do Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, and then Thursday night check their work. This needs to be a learning process. At the very least, complete one full section, check your work. Even better than that, go part of the way through it, and then part of the way through each assignment, each single section assignment, get your solution guide and make sure that you're understanding what's going on, because it's frustrating to say, okay, I got problems 1 through 9 right, and then I did problems 10 through 22 because Miss Betsy assigns a bazillion problems, and I missed 8 of those problems because I didn't understand what was going on. So make full use of the solutions that you have. Let's see. Everyone has a full year assignment calendar that lets you know your assignments clear up until May. Helps you plan for when you're going to be out of town, If you've got a speech debate, if you've got a vacation, if you've just been so involved with ministry over the week, or if life happens and you can't get to your homework, or you miss a Friday, you always know what you need to do. So you can keep up that way, but also on each one of those days where there's an assignment, I've given you specific problem numbers to solve. And I take that directly from the text. I have 3 choices. I've got a limited or an average or an extended selected homework, and I picked the middle of the road. I'm not picking problems from section C, but these problems will give them a good understanding of the material. Now, a lot of the time when I was in some of my college classes that I had in math, I would work the majority of the problems because I needed that to teach myself the information. I've got a couple of kids at least who are turning in homework and they've done every single solitary problem in the whole sections regardless of what I've assigned. And I'm not sure if there's some of the ones who are saying, my word, there is so much material that I have to do in this class. So if you want your kids to do all of the problems, or kids, if it's helpful to you, do all of the problems. But remember that if you look at your assignment calendar, I've got a specific assignment. It's not just do problems 1 through 43, usually. You really can't read a math book like you read other books, obviously, but you've got to be, parents, please, please, please make sure that your kids are looking through each lesson, that they're doing their best to read it, and more importantly, that they are working through each example. It's not enough. I'm looking at this one right here. It's going to be the next section that I video for Algebra 1. And the question here says, we're talking about square roots and cube roots. And the problem here is simplify 8 times the square root of 5 plus 9. And it goes through the work for that. Doesn't do any good to simply just read that. Kids should have a pencil and paper in hand and make sure that they understand the progression of the steps. Also, again, show your steps. Show your computation process. Something that's showing up every year, and it's showing up again this year. I've lost my eraser. Here's my eraser. I have people who really, really like to be neat, so they'll hand me in their math papers, and I can see where they have erased. But here they have just the answer. Doesn't work. You cannot just give me the answer, and I need to see your work. I don't want you guys cleaning up your papers for me. Your work, your computation work might be over here at the side, and it may look like a bunch of chicken scratch. 48, and that's all right. That's okay for it to be messy, but I want to be able to see your work, your extra computation work, because that helps me see the mental process that you're going through, helps me catch where your mistakes are. So that's the end of those notes, but the last thing I wanted to talk about, and this is so very important, is these videos that I prepare. Understand that, it's math. How exciting can I make math? I ask God to help me make it exciting, and it's still math. But at least I think we've got some engaging going on with a lot of the kids. We do the dumb jokes, we laugh, we interact as much as we can. Some kids are not watching the videos, and that's just fine as long as they're learning the material. But here's the caveat that I have with my videos. If you're not watching the videos, and if you're not being really, really, really particular to use the text and see the methodology, then you're going to get tripped up. Because in my videos I say, okay, this is how you should be stepping through your problem. So there are some kids out there who are having a difficulty stepping through their problem. And then the second thing, if it were possible, I would sit down right now and prop my foot up on my dining room table and eat some popcorn and have a video of me playing in the background as I'm watching video. Okay, if that's what I'm doing, I'm not learning anything in math. I think as you guys watch the videos, you should have a snack and a drink with you, but the way that you best watch an algebra video or any sort of a math teaching video is with your remote in your hand or with your hand right at that mouse where you can pause the YouTube video, because what you should be doing, ideally, is working the problems with me. Pausing it and thinking, okay, what did she just say? Oh, I just zoned out. My little brother came in and I was interacting with them and I totally missed what Miss Betsy just said. That's the reason that I video these, because you can go back and replay them, you can pause them, you can rewind them, you can stop and say, okay, that was a long problem. I think I understand what she did. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to go back and write it myself and see if I can come up with the same answer that she did, because I'm stepping right through the problems. I'm being as clear as I know how to be, showing all of the steps, but it's still a lot of information that's being given to the kids. So make use of that pause button. I think I've told a bunch of people the very first year that I started doing videos, my friend's daughter was in class, and one day she's doing this in class. I said, what in the world are you doing? And she just started laughing. She was trying to pause me, because she was one of those who did make use of the videos, and she'd pause it when she didn't understand it. She would write herself notes or she'd try to solve it, and I was getting ahead of her in class, so she's trying to pause the video. Thank you for letting me for giving me the privilege of having your kids. I love being around teenagers. I enjoy boys. I still have kids at home myself. I've got a 15, 16, and 17-year-old who are still living at home. So I'm enjoying interacting with them. They're a delight to be in my class. If there's any way that I can serve you better, please call me, text me. I want your kids to get this material. I want them to come out of math, some of them who have been so terrified, come in here saying, you know, it's not so bad, and I can just work through this, and I can pray and I can ask God to help me. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Get a hold of me if you need me. Thanks.